So we've put together some of the most frequently asked questions that entrepreneurs and business owners have about leasing commercial space at our properties, or for that matter, any properties around town. And we're going to go through here some of the most popular that come in from tenants as they're looking at our properties. What are the terms available? The most popular is probably a 5-year lease in commercial or office. And I think the savvy tenants are going out and asking for 7 or 10 years with a little bit of future planning, thinking, hey, prices and inflation are probably going to continue to rise. And if they can lock that in today's dollars, they'll probably be more in control than the landlord being able to, let's say, up the rent at the end of 5 years or up it at the end of 3 years or even 1 year. The landlord is in complete control of that. That being said, certainly people could do a 3-year option. And I would say a 1 year or less option really isn't that interesting to most landlords because of the time, the money, the energy, the paperwork to get a box filled up and have someone leave just 11 or 12 months later. Not terribly exciting. I'll give you another tip. If someone is looking for more tenant improvement allowance or contribution from the landlord to help build out their suite, the longer the term to spread those costs, the longer the term to spread those dollars across, the more palatable it is for a landlord, or we can justify giving a bigger dollar amount to those tenants who sign a 7 or a 10-year lease or even a 5-year lease in a lot of cases. What is tenant improvement allowance? I'm glad you asked. So that just means the landlord is helping to contribute dollars, usually reimbursed. Some cases we can advance those dollars towards the tenant's build out of their suite. So those will commonly go towards, backlit channel sign that you see on the building, or monument sign, or someone picking out their flooring or their paint or their fixtures or their furniture. It could be plumbing, it could be electrical, any number of things that the tenant wants to do to customize their suite to make it work really, really well for their business and very appealing for their customer base. It's basically financed into the lease rate. And so again, if someone signs a 5 or a 7-year lease and they want to have a 10, a 20, a 30, a $40,000 tenant improvement allowance, that's not uncommon for someone to sign a multi-year lease. Do I need great credit? The better the credit, the better, but like buying a house or renting a home, it doesn't have to be perfect. So if someone has decent or good credit, it's absolutely worth reaching out and inquiring about a space, about a property, especially if someone has good liquidity in the bank, or they're a great operator, or if the landlord really likes the business concept, or that business would be a great complement to the existing tenants. We will look at the global picture of someone's situation. So, their business income, their personal income, their savings, their credit, their experience, the whole thing helps us to make a decision on who's going to be the best tenant to backfill that space when a vacancy becomes available. What sizes are available? So a lot of times you'll see a suite listed as 2,000 feet or 3,000 feet, but it could be demisable, which just means we can split that suite down the middle or into 1/3 or 2/3. And so if you see a large box, that might be very easy to split up into 1,000 square feet or 1,200 square feet or even smaller in some cases. So what a lot of tenants do is just say, hey, I only need 800 feet or I only need 1,200 feet. Do you have anything available? A good thing to do would be to share with your landlord or with your leasing brokers what your monthly budget is, because we can help say, hey, you can fit into this size suite at this property, which has these rates and has these triple net or common area maintenance costs. Do I need retail space if I don't need foot traffic? Great question. It makes me think about an insurance agency where a lot of times they're doing more office type work, but they'll often have customers come in. So if your business is one that would benefit from foot traffic or walk-ins or cars driving by, these are the factors that all the biggest brands in the world look at. How many cars are going by? What is the average income of the area? How many people live in a 1, 3, or a 5-mile radius around the property? And we can pretty accurately calculate how many customers you could expect in the property on a weekly basis. So think about, could it make sense to pay a little bit higher rent to be in a retail shopping center with your brand prominently displayed next to all these other businesses driving traffic? Or does it make sense to maybe go into a cheaper location, off the main drag in a back office or a warehouse somewhere where the location isn't nearly as meaningful, or you're only doing, an internet business? That probably wouldn't make as much sense for a retail or a commercial or an office type of location that does benefit from some of that great foot traffic, or the impromptu or the impulse buyer coming into some of our locations. I'll give you another example. We have a preschool in one of our properties, 75 kids a day attending. And so those parents coming twice a day will pop into the coffee shop, will pop into the bakery, will pop into the restaurant, will pop into the deli next door. And so that can be a great driver of traffic for those other businesses that co-locate in a shopping center. Is it possible to get any free rent on my lease? Yes, it is. In fact, it's pretty common if someone has decent credit and decent liquidity or cash, and they're signing a 5 or a 7 or a 10-year lease, we can usually work in a couple months of free rent to help them ramp up and get going while either their space is being built out, or even after they've opened, to make money for a few months before they're making those steady monthly rent payments. So definitely inquire about it. It's dependent on everyone's individual situation. So let us know what you have going on, and we can let you know what's possible given the financial structure of the deal. Is it important to have a responsive or an active landlord? That's an interesting question. I would say the more active or the more responsive, the better. A lot of times, some landlords are really insulated behind property managers or asset managers at large publicly traded institutions. It's probably one of the things that makes us unique. We're an independent, privately owned mom and pop boutique landlord. And so we have the ability to engage directly with our tenants, to be a partner alongside local property management and make sure that our tenants are being wildly successful at a property. And so one of the reasons we, put together information like this so that we can attract a quality tenant to our properties, so that we can put a deal together that's going to be a win-win for both the tenant and the landlord, and add value not just to the property, but to the whole area around it, because we think all ships rise if we get the right businesses into the right properties. They're going to be there for many, many years to come. And that's something that we know our customers have come to love and appreciate. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to have you come tour some of the suites available at the different properties. Bring your leasing broker, bring your partners, bring your spouse. Come see the inventory for yourself. Nothing beats an in-person tour. And let us know what questions you have about the properties. Again, we want to see you be wildly successful. And congratulations on either your expansion or looking at leasing your first suite in a shopping center or a commercial property. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.